You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest. We are joined by Emma Latisse. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise. Emma, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thanks so much for having me. It's good to be here.
You're so welcome. I feel like I didn't give you a big prepper before we started either. I was like, hey, I'm going to press the record button. I just realized that, Emma.
That's good. I don't need that. We can talk about cruises. That's no problem.
You do live streams all the time. You can roll with the punches. So we're excited to have you on the show. I want to give everybody just a little bit of background about you. I think it goes without saying. I mean, come on, it's Emma, right? But you guys, if you have not heard of Emma, she is the face and the talent, and by the way, a very nice person behind Emma Cruises on YouTube and the web. And Emma started her website back in 2016 when she was just 22 years old. And since then, she's created over 500 YouTube videos. She's done over 200 live streams with her peeps on YouTube. And she has over 1,000 website articles, which are, by the way, amazingly helpful. Like when I needed some help with Southampton, I was like, okay, let's go find Emma's info on the web. And it's all about cruise travel. And Emma and I, we've actually been in touch since the beginning of time. I feel like it was probably right when Emma got started. So when I got to meet her last year on Sun Princess, it was kind of a pinch me moment. So Emma, I'm so stoked you're here. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Anytime, thank you. Yeah, I think since the very beginning of my journey, you were already on the cruise track. So I watched your things before I had any idea that I would ever have any plans to do it myself. So I can't remember a time before I knew who you were. So
I love it. I don't even think you were of drinking age when I started on YouTube. I was thinking about this morning, like, man, Emma, she's young, but I love it. I think you and I have kind of a neat friendship because you got started really young and then I got started when I was like 40. So I think it's kind of fun that we connected and formed a friendship, even though we're like 20 years apart. It's cool.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing that we do, though, isn't it? I think it brings you very close together because you have the same sort of struggles, the same sort of wins that most people don't understand, try as they might. So I think it sort of just accelerates your friendship when you have something like this in common.
I love the way you said that. It does create kind of a bond, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I remember you and I having some phone calls early on too. We're like, okay, wait, this just happened. This is weird. And it is so true that only someone in this weird, wacky space where we make videos about cruise ships and stuff could understand it. But I appreciate you and I'm so glad that we connected and I'm really excited to see you soon, but we'll save that for the end of the show. Talk about that soon. So will you tell us a little bit about Emma Cruises and just in general how you got started and maybe where you are now?
Yeah, of course. So I was very lucky because I was 11 when I took my first cruise. So that was not a decision that I made. Thankfully, my gran decided to take my family on a cruise and I loved it. From then, I was hooked on it. I wasn't paying attention to, particularly the places we went or any of the things that people talk about when it comes to cruising. But I loved the freedom of being 11, being able to go to the buffet, to go to get pizza when my parents wanted to sit down in what I thought was the boring main dining room, that kind of thing. I loved, running up and down the stairs, just the simple things. So I always knew, I did another cruise when I was 13, a couple as a teenager. So I always knew that that was something that I thought was fun. And I never thought anything else of it until I, got a proper job out of university, started talking to my colleagues and some of my friends wanting them to come on a cruise with me. And some of the things they said to me were it just blew my mind because they wouldn't know these things because there's no reason for them to. But I would speak to friends who would say things like, oh, well, that cabin looks really nice, but where on this deck are the toilets? Like they thought that there would be communal toilets on each deck, right? And to me, it was just really, really strange. So I started just paying attention to that, I guess. And speaking to people in the UK, people tend to assume cruising is very formal, ballroom dancing, dress codes, that kind of thing. I think it's a bit different in the States because people understand you can go to the Caribbean and have a party kind of cruise, but it's not really the same in the UK. So I decided, I don't know why, I just thought it would be funny, but I decided to start a website originally called Cruising Isn't Just for Old People.
That's right. I remember. That's what it was when I met you.
The worst
Yeah.
website name because it is so hard to type that out. It doesn't fit in a YouTube username, so I changed that quite quickly. But I just thought it would be funny. There was no plan for this ever to be a business. There was no
Mhm.
thought behind it at all. I just thought, I didn't want everyone to think that cruising was just for people who are retired. So that's where I started. I started a YouTube channel the year after. Just at the beginning, it was, this is a nice sail-in. This is the view from the lift in the middle of the ship, that kind of thing. And then for me, it really changed after the pandemic
Mhm.
because I came home from a normal 9 to 5 office job. I worked in insurance and I thought, I don't want to go back. I want to give this hobby that I'd had for 5 years a proper go. So I started kind of building a business, what felt like in the dark,
Mhm.
because no one was cruising. And people told us back then, didn't they? They said, you'll never cruise again. Travel is done for. Thankfully, it's
Right.
not. But I've been full time in this business since 2021. So, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I love your story. Now, okay, so those first cruises when you were 11, was it
Yeah.
Norwegian that you were on at that time? Do you remember what cruise line it was?
Yeah, so I was on Norwegian Spirit was my first ship that I was on in
Mm.
Alaska, and I went back on that ship in Japan
Oh,
last year. So that was really nice, like come full circle for me. But I pretty much only cruised with Norwegian and MSC up until I took a Cunard cruise. And it was on that cruise that I decided to start my website. Because for anyone listening who doesn't know, Cunard are pretty much as formal and traditional as you can get.
yeah.
And Norwegian are as casual and flexible as you can get. So I went from, no dress codes at all to what I think are the most strict in the industry. It's relaxed a little bit, but I sat there and I thought, what is this? Like, I was not prepared for this. My first article was called 9 Things You Need to Know Before a Cunard Cruise. And that was for me.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Does it
I knew
still
this.
hold up? Do you feel like that data, that content's still accurate?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a good read, but the actual content I agree with. They
Mhm.
have relaxed things a little bit. It was a bit more strict back then, but even still, I think it's just the idea of finding, I think there is a cruise line for everybody, but not every cruise line is for every person. And me personally, I've cruised with Cunard multiple times. I just did a transatlantic. I don't think that's a cruise line that really suits me because I don't like being told what to wear for a start. But plenty of people do. So the way I see what I do now, I create content about cruises, and my aim is you look at that and you can say, yes, that's for me, or no, absolutely not. And I don't care either way. I just want you
Yeah.
to not have to give up a week of your life and money, finding it out for yourself. So that's what I do
Exactly.
now.
That's that could almost be your tagline.
Yeah.
I mean, so would you say that in general, UK cruising is still a bit on the formal side, aside from just Cunard, of course, with the transatlantics?
Mhm.
Would you say in general it still has that vibe, even if you're on, say, an American cruise line over there?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think people do hold on to that and they do still like to do it.
Hmm.
We have a lot of family cruise lines, the most common cruise line to do. If I meet someone from the UK and they've taken one cruise, it's a P&O cruise,
Okay.
like almost 100%. But even on a cruise line like P&O, which they're trying to be quite family friendly, they still have the formal night. The dress codes are still enforced even in some of the bars. So I think some people do hang on to that. I don't mind doing it at all. I just don't like to be told. I like it to be my own decision if I want to
Yeah.
dress up or
Right.
if I don't want to. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. But on Cunard, it's still very traditional. And I remember reading one of your videos, reading one of your articles or watching one of your videos where it said something like a normal night on Cunard with the dress code is basically like formal night on another cruise line, right?
Yes. That's how
Okay.
I view it. Is I have dresses that I normally wear on a, gala night, chic night, dress to impress night, whatever the other cruise lines call it.
Yeah.
They're the ones I would wear on the non-formal nights. And then on formal nights, if you could wear a wedding dress and you really wouldn't look out of place. People bring their
Oh,
prom dresses back out. I go for normally like a full length gown. I wouldn't normally wear a full length gown if I
right.
want to,
Hmm.
Norwegian cruise, Royal Caribbean cruise, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when else do you get to wear those?
Yeah.
It's nice to just you don't look out of place wearing that because
Yeah.
some people really, really go all out on their dress codes.
Yeah. That's funny. And you're a minimalist packer. We have that in common. We both like
Yeah.
packing carry on only. I think you're
Mhm.
even more minimalist than me. Now, can you do a Cunard cruise with a single bag, a single carry on?
I think I would actually really struggle because a full length dress takes up half a suitcase.
It
And I
does.
don't even if you're wearing a jacket,
Right.
if you're a guy, I think that would be even harder. I
Yeah.
could probably do it, but on a push, and I probably would have to wear some of those dresses in the day because I don't have enough space.
Oh, yeah. And then the shoes.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
I'd have to
goodness.
just I don't know, one pair of shoes that go with everything, but
Yes.
I would struggle. Yeah, for
It'd be
sure.
hard.
Yeah, so that's why I did a Cunard cruise recently, a transatlantic. I went across to New York, came back home. I thought that would be easier rather than, flying
Yeah.
with all this Cunard luggage everywhere.
Oh, that's a smart idea. So you flew over to the US and then sailed back. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
which a lot of people say that doesn't make sense because your cruise is 5 hours shorter. It
Mm,
is, but I got home without being jet lagged,
true.
and that's worth it to me because then
Yeah.
your cruise just ends and
Yeah.
it's over. You haven't got to dread that kind of flight and jet lag and stuff. So
Because the
it worked
time
nicely
kind
for
of
me.
like, so the time sort of incrementally changes as you progress across the Atlantic, right?
Yeah, in the
Those,
middle of the
yeah.
day,
Oh, in the
which
middle
I
of the
wasn't
day.
expecting because I've been on plenty of time zone cruises, but it's
What?
always been at night. But on the transatlantic I did, it would be midday. It would just become 1 p.m.
You
Yeah.
lose an
And they
hour.
would, yeah. But then lunch is just comes quicker, which honestly, that's fine. I don't have to get up earlier and lunch comes quicker. So
I cannot
it
believe
worked
that.
quite well.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. That's wild.
Yeah. I didn't either. I thought it would
Oh my
happen at
gosh.
night because it always does. But if
Yeah.
everyone's at sea, the only time anyone needs to know is ship time. The only things that are happening are on the schedule. No one's got excursions to meet or anything happening on land because you're at
Yeah.
sea. So it makes perfect sense. They'd always do, 12 p.m. announcement. This is the weather. It is now 1 p.m.
That is so weird. It is now 1 p.m. and you don't get to sleep through that time change.
No,
Oh my
yeah, exactly.
goodness. I love it. Well, despite all of the stuff that you're doing on YouTube, you somehow find ways to do other things. And I've always loved following your journey towards giving back. And you always have your hand in some kind of philanthropic cause, some way of giving back. And I so admire that about you. I even remember during the pandemic, I don't remember exactly what you were doing to volunteer, but I feel like you were volunteering in a vaccination clinic or something, right? You're always
Yeah.
doing something. You've always got the time and the energy. And I love that about you. And I want to ask you specifically, I know you spent 6 days on the world's largest hospital ship. And I would love for you to tell our audience more about that because I personally didn't know that even existed when you went over
Yeah.
there. And I'd love to know more.
Yeah, it's something I didn't know existed up until a couple of years ago. I was listening to a podcast. Someone very casually mentioned that they had been volunteering. I don't remember what they did, but it just sort of, I heard the name Mercy Ships and I
Mm,
thought that sounds like a nice tie-in between what I'm doing with cruising and something that seems worth doing. So, Mercy Ships are a charity. They have hospital ships. They sail those ships to a place that needs medical care and they basically stop there for, 9 months, invite people on, do surgeries, and then move on to the next place. They train people who are on land, if they need to train dentists, stuff like that. But their aim is to leave it better than when they arrived. Everyone on board is a volunteer, which I knew. I knew that before I went. But meeting people who had been on for I met someone who'd been on for their entire life. Their parents both volunteered on these ships and they don't have a home country. They're like ship kids because they have a school on board. They have everything they need. It's a completely different world. But most people are
really?
there for, yeah, 2 years, 6 months, some
Oh,
people on shorter contracts, but everyone is a volunteer, and not just the surgeons and the doctors, but
mhm.
everything you need on a ship. They have chefs, they have cleaners, they have, receptionists,
Oh,
accountants, communications teams, people doing the technology, everything. And they're all volunteers.
wow.
So how I got involved in that is I had an idea to create a toy mascot of my cat. My real cat's called Hudson, and he used to join me on live streams. I didn't start calling him Captain Hudson. I don't know who's responsible for this, but people used to ask me, where's the captain? Where's Captain Hudson? So
Oh,
that just became
is
a
that
thing.
how
I
it
don't even,
started? I was wondering about
yeah.
how the origins of Captain
Well,
Hudson.
I would love to know who first said that, but we sort of
Mm.
just, it snowballed, we ran with it, and we created this toy that we could sell and we could just raise the money for Mercy Ships. And we've done 5 different versions now, each one with his own little outfit on.
Mm.
Um, and I haven't quite worked out how much we've raised from the last version yet, but I'm estimating it's probably in total going to be around $150,000.
Gosh,
Which
Emma.
is mind blowing from a toy cat.
Right.
But it is, it's, there's thousands and thousands of people in the world who bought this cat to support Mercy Ships. They take him on cruises, they take pictures of
Yeah.
him all around the world, and they, spread the message about what Captain Hudson stands for, which is really, really nice because, as you say, you didn't know that this existed. I didn't know
Yeah.
this existed. I had never been to West Africa at all. It was not something you know, I just never considered it. And I
Yeah.
got the email saying, Emma, would you like to come and see where the money you've raised is being spent? At
My
first, I was
gosh.
like, Sierra Leone? Where is that? Googling it. How do I go to Sierra Leone? Because
Right.
it's quite tricky. But I thought, this is not the kind of thing that you turn down. You don't get to
Yeah.
do it again. So I went, yeah. And it was a lot to take in six
Yeah.
days. We got to see in the hospital, we got to go to the little center they have on land. I got to meet some of the patients. I
Mhm.
got to see the school where the kids go, the
Oh,
volunteers' kids.
gosh.
It was crazy because in some ways it felt very familiar. This
Yeah.
this dining room could be on a cruise ship,
Right.
but
It's a
I'm in
ship. Yeah.
Sierra Leone. Yeah.
Wow. And you, in order, either when you went or when you got back, didn't you have to take some kind of medication to make sure that you were,
So yeah,
yeah?
you need to do the anti-malarials. I think that's quite important. But also I needed
Mhm.
it's quite strange to me how me, someone from the UK, I had to get vaccines for all kinds of things, rabies, hepatitis, tetanus, typhoid, a massive list.
Oh, wow.
And it was honestly it was over £700 of vaccines, which is crazy.
You mean
But
that financially? Oh, that's a
yeah, for
lot.
me. Yeah, but that's for me to
Whoa.
go there for 6 days. And if you live there, you
Yeah.
just no one there has that.
No one
It's
there
just
does have it.
no, of course, no. But it's
Whoa.
just crazy that that's what the UK considers that for me to be safe there for 6 days, I need £700 worth of vaccines. But when a hospital says to you, we recommend you have rabies vaccines before you come, yes.
Yes.
Like I,
Yes.
I did ask my mum, I was like, is it worth
Mhm.
£400 for the risk of not getting rabies?
Yeah.
She said yes.
Yes. You don't want to have to go through a rabies treatment.
No. So it
Oh,
was a lot.
Emma. That is
But that's another reason. It's not a place. It's not a place that you would just go on holiday. It's
right.
not very accessible.
Mm.
They're trying. They are going to do direct flights from London soon, so that's quite fun. But there's not the infrastructure in place. You can't just get off the airport and get in a, you know, the cars don't have seat belts. The roads aren't tarmacked. It's not.
Right.
Yeah, it's not your normal kind of trip.
Oh my word. Well, what a trip of a lifetime. I imagine there must have been, it must be one of those trips where you come back and you really are never the same,
Yeah,
right?
I do struggle now. If I
Mm.
if people complain about certain things to me as if it has ruined their life, that the type of jam has changed, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like the average monthly salary in Sierra Leone is 40 US dollars.
God.
So the things that, it just feels like
Yeah.
existing in two different worlds. But
Yeah.
as long as people want to keep buying Captain Hudson and keep supporting Mercy ships, we're
Yeah.
going to keep doing that because it only takes a couple of Captain Hudsons to do a cataract surgery on a
What?
child who literally it's going to cure their blindness from
Right.
a toy cat.
Yeah. That's that's the magic of it though. I love that. I love when I'm on your page and I see people sharing when they take him on their cruises and their journeys, and it is a wonderful way to
So
take,
funny.
yeah, you're elevating the idea of community though. It's taking it to a new level of connecting with the people in your audience. I think it's so cool.
People are so creative
Yeah.
with Captain Hudson. They won't just take him, they'll take him to work sometimes. There's one person who's a dentist and they took him to the dentist office, put him in an x-ray. He's been through x-ray. He has done
So
everything. And every
fantastic.
time, in airports, they always have the shops, the Hudson
Oh yeah.
brand of
Oh
shops.
right.
So we say that that's Hudson's business enterprise.
That's
But he's
cute.
been everywhere.
I missed
Yeah.
that one. That's so funny.
No.
I'll never look at the
Yeah,
Hudson store the same in the airport.
exactly.
My goodness. Well, that's not the
Yeah.
only thing you've been up to. You just launched a huge project, which I was very excited to get a little sneak peek of. It's the world's first free to use visual cruise log. And it helps you like track your cruise history all in one place. So tell us all about it. What is this? How can people check it out? And how did you find the time, Emma? How did you find the time to take this on with all that you do? I need to know.
Yeah. So what I have had for years and years and years is a terrible list that I try and keep up to date of my cruises. I come back from a
Yeah.
cruise, people ask me questions like, where did you go?
Hmm.
And I can't point it out on a map because I don't have a good memory. I'm not good at geography. It's just not great. So what we have created is called the Cruise Globe. It's totally free to use, just thecruiseglobe.com. You put in your cruise dates, what ship you're on, and we basically collect the data that the cruise ship's left behind, like a little trail, and
Hmm.
it goes onto this 3D globe that you can see. So we'll tell you how many miles you went, how many nights you spent at sea. You can
Hmm.
see it all together in one place. And I can't tell you how many times a day I use it because I can't remember things that I've done, or what is my longest cruise? Aha. Or what is my shortest cruise? Aha. Or have I been to this port? I can just zoom in and see if I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, that's really, really fantastic. And what we have right now is very much just the start because so you asked me how I have the time.
Yeah.
Luckily, I found other people who have more knowledge and time than me, and I have to just have the ideas, which is
Okay.
the perfect deal. So I
Hmm.
say things like, "This is great. I would really like an animation of this to go in my YouTube video," and then someone else makes it for me.
Oh my gosh. So you're the chief idea officer and they're
Yeah,
the
and
chief execution officers.
pretty much, yeah. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what people like me want now. I've
Yeah.
spent I don't know how many years talking to people about their cruises, but I have never had that technical knowledge myself.
Okay.
But I joined two guys, Matt and Will. They're my co-founders of this company, and they understand. They explain to me, but they understand far more than I do about what goes on behind the scenes. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's great fun. Just to be upfront, it's funded by our physical map company, just because I
Okay.
think people will wonder how can this be free. Obviously, we're hoping if someone adds 10 of their cruises, maybe they want to buy a physical one for the wall of
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But the Cruise Globe is totally free to use. And the best thing that anyone can do for me is to just use it, share it, enjoy it, put it in videos, screenshot it, put it on your website, share it on Facebook, anything like that.
And
Because
yeah, where do they find it one more time? I want to make sure everybody gets to hear this.
thecruiseglobe.com.
Okay. And then if they want one of the maps, which by the way are really cool, I think you have a few of them behind you right now.
I do. I have a couple here.
Yeah. So it for those of us who are nerdy and who like normally would put a little red push pin into a
Yeah.
map, this makes it so that you have this beautiful bespoke
Yes.
map like that's completely centered around your cruise history. It's the coolest thing.
It's cool because I get off of a cruise and you think you know what happened on the cruise because you were on the cruise. You have no idea.
Oh, you mean like all the
If you,
zigzagging and everything?
yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
if you just see the sea in every single direction. I don't know if we've done a loop
Oh,
and we've
right.
gone around in the same circle 6 times, right? Do
Yeah,
I? I have
true.
no idea.
Yeah, you
So I
wouldn't
like
know.
getting no, but I love getting back and seeing, sometimes I've been on cruises where we've got so close to the port and then the weather's bad and we've had to turn around. Or I had a cruise recently where we found a lifeboat that another ship had dropped. So we had to turn around and see that. And you can see all of those things on these maps because it is the trail that the ship left behind. It's not like an itinerary plan.
Right.
It's what actually happened. So yeah, the physical companies, the cruisemaps.com. But if you add any of your cruises to the Globe, that's the free website version, it'll automatically go through if you want to buy a print version already filled out for you.
Got it. So it pre-fills it with your history. So that time you spend populating it, it transfers through to the physical copy. Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. It is good because you can see your list and you can see, well, that one was particularly quirky, or sometimes I buy them for my mum and dad. They really wanted to do that transatlantic that I did, so when we got back I bought them that. But it's nice sort of now with the Cruise Globe we can kind of preview. Before we couldn't preview them, so that was one of the reasons that we decided to make this, and we have so many more ideas. I can't wait to catch up in a year's time and see what this is like, because no shortage of ideas.
We'll have to talk about it again in a year to see where it's gone and how it's developed. I think that's a great idea. And I think that I've seen so many people just individually post about it. So I've seen other creators who love it and are like, wait, this is a cruise nerd's dream. And I've seen so many members of your audience say, yeah, this is just the next natural step in having it sort of like digitized, right? I love it. Very, very cool. Is there anything else we should know about the Globe or the maps or anything that we missed that we didn't get to talk about?
I mean, for me, I feel like I've been looking at every other industry in the world and being able to track everything, your steps, your flights, everything. And it just feels like, I don't know if other companies don't think cruising is that cool, but it feels like we get left behind, don't you think?
All the time.
So we've tried to fill that gap ourselves. Matt and Will, they both like cruising as much as me. Matt's parents worked on ships. Will studied, I think, naval architecture or something very clever. So we built what we wanted for a change, which is really nice. But yeah, please use it. It's totally free. You can create on there like a summary of your whole cruise history. It will come up on a little passport, so you can see how many miles you've done. At the moment, the record that I've seen is Gary Tips for Travelers. I'm yet to see anyone to beat his.
Gary.
But you can,
that's amazing.
Yeah, you can see how many times you've cruised with each cruise line. No surprise, Norwegian Cruise Line's my top one, followed by MSC and Marella, interestingly. And you can create little cruise cards of each one. So if you go on a cruise and you want to just share like an overview, how far we went, this is the map. You can share those on social media, emails, website, however you want to do it.
I can't
believe it's free. And if you have any ideas or comments or anything, we want to know. Like we read every single message. Everyone has such interesting and good ideas. So yeah, if you just think, not sure if Emma's thought about this, let us know. If you can email us, hello@thecruisemaps.com. That would be the best place to do that. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds really good. And it'll iterate. And I have to say too, as a user, it is easy to plug in that cruise history. So if someone is like, oh, I don't know if I can go in and plug all that in. I don't know if I can remember everything. Take a few minutes, jot it down in a Google Doc, kind of try to figure out your sailing date and your ship. And it isn't that hard. I plugged mine in and it was like, okay, a few minutes and you can always come back to it. It doesn't have to be done all at once.
Of course, yeah, you can always edit them. If you're not sure, most cruises, the majority come up straight away. Some of them we do need a human touch. No one's ever logged them before, which is fun. But if you're not sure, feel free to put in, I think it's this date. It might come up straight away and then you can say that's right. If not, you can change it, try and look in your emails. I've been doing that a lot lately. But yes, it should be, you just need to know what ship you're on, where and when you went from, and the dates.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Love it.
So hopefully people can find that.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for sharing that with everyone. I think it's going to be awesome. And we'll have to look forward when we post the link to this podcast. We would love all of you to weigh in. Let us know if you've tried it. I'll post it on Facebook, on our page in our group, and y'all can jump into the comments and I'll give Emma a link so she can see what you're all saying about it too on our page. That'll be fun. So
good, yeah.
I want to talk about, we'll do some fun cruisy kinds of questions in a minute, but I wanted to ask you about Southampton a little bit. I know you're based in England, and so you probably have cruised out of Southampton oodles and oodles of times. Do you have any basic tips or things people should know if you're cruising out of Southampton? It's kind of a unique location, right? Because it's an hour and a half, 2 hours from the airport. It's a cool coastal area. Anything you would tell people about Southampton?
Yeah, I think the thing that people often oversight is how far away the terminals are from each other. Because if you get
Oh.
one from one end and you want to walk to the other end, it's going to take you like 45 minutes between the different terminals, which when you have suitcases, that's not ideal.
At
So
the cruise port, not the
yeah, there's so
airport.
many
Okay.
different terminals within Southampton Cruise Port. So if
Oh,
you're getting a taxi, make sure you know which one you're at because you don't want to be dropped at the wrong one. I think people think, oh, it's just Southampton. I'll just walk across to the next ship. There's loads and loads of ships there. But
really?
honestly, I think, yeah, 45 minutes it'll probably take you to walk from one end to the other of the terminals. Yeah.
That's like worse than an airport.
Yeah, it's huge, absolutely massive. And
Okay.
it's doable. You know, I often walk from the train station to whatever terminal I'm
Hmm.
going to, but that is helped by the fact that I do pack pretty light.
Yeah.
But if you are coming in by car, if you're coming in by taxi, just make sure, you know, I'm always Googling Southampton cruise ship schedule and it will say what date, what ship is in, what terminal they're in, and
Hmm.
just make sure you say, you know, there's City Terminal, Horizon Terminal, Cunard have their own terminal.
Wow.
There's
Okay.
so many.
So don't think of it as a little rinky-dink place. This is a
No.
well-developed
Just a terrible
superstructure.
way. Yeah,
Okay.
if you start your cruise and you've got the taxi to the wrong place, it's raining, you've got all your bags, like it's just not a good start. So that little
Yeah.
bit of research, well worth doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any favorite activities or anything like that in Southampton you want to share? I know it's a big area, so it's
It is. It depends how much you're into sort of your history in terms of ocean liners, things like that. There's a museum called the Sea City Museum. That's probably my favorite place to go to in Southampton. So that's, you know, a bit about Titanic, a bit about Southampton through the ages. It's just a really nicely put together museum. I like it when they go in chronological order. I
Mhm.
don't know why.
That's
But yeah,
cool.
that's what I normally recommend people do. You can walk there from most of the cruise ports. Yeah, it's probably my recommendation.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Sounds good. So, when this podcast goes live, just a few days after, shortly after, you and I are actually going to be on a ship together. And
Mhm.
I haven't even told my audience this yet. So it's kind of breaking news here that we are going to be on Norwegian Aqua and
Mhm.
welcoming this incredible vessel to the world, right? It's a big deal. What are you most excited about for Aqua? I mean, what are you looking forward to?
I'm so excited. I think honestly, I'm looking forward to the Indulge food hall food because I had that on Prima years ago, and every ship I've been on since, I'm like, this
Mhm.
buffet's nice, this dining room's nice, but it would be better
Yeah, if it
if
was
there was an
Indulge.
Indulge food hall. Yeah, so that's basically like lots of little freshly made food stations, and you order them on a tablet and it comes to you. I love that. I also want to try I don't really understand how a roller coaster can be a water slide at the same
Right.
time.
Hmm.
So I'm interested in is it an aqua coaster, something like
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I
I
mean
think
it's basically a raft water slide on rolling wheels. So
yeah, on a track.
yeah, because it has elevation
Mm,
gains and drops and it's not all powered just by gravity itself. I think
yeah.
that's the coaster part is that it actually propels on wheels. I'm excited for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something a little bit different. I am
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to try and just do everything on board. I don't normally do cruises so soon after them launching. I
Right.
normally actively avoid doing maiden cruises just because I
Yes.
often think, you know, a cruise ship needs time to settle in, the crew needs to get used to it, they need to work out where they're going to put different drinks in the restaurant, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is something completely different because we're on a press trip. There's
Right.
no regular guests on there as far as I know. So
Correct.
that's going to be really interesting.
Yes.
Interesting kind of story, I think, to tell. So
I think so
yeah.
too. Well, I'm excited to see you. I'm excited to hear your version of the story. That is one thing about Emma, friends, is that she is a master storyteller. And that is really what Emma's content is focused on. It's not really vlogging. It's more like this is the story. And I think it's been so exciting for me to see you grow as a storyteller. And I think that's really the secret to your success. Would you say?
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't enjoy vlogging. I've got to be honest.
It's
I
hard.
tried for the first couple of years. It's hard. I find it really awkward. I find it really embarrassing. I
Mhm.
can't, I need that time to come back from a trip and put everything down and organize it, which is
Mhm.
what really works well for me. So if anyone is listening and they're creating content, don't just do what everyone else is doing because you assume that that's the best thing to do. It wasn't the best thing to do for me.
Right.
And it's not, you know, when I come back from a trip, I basically create content as if I was meeting a friend in the pub and they said, "Where have you been?" Well, this is where I've been. I booked it because this, I thought it might be this. It was this. That's basically my videos because I want someone to
Ah.
understand in a fairly short amount of time, you know, 20 minutes maybe,
Mhm.
if they would also like to do that or not. But I did for a long time think, oh, I need to film myself in the buffet eating this food because that's what cruise vlogging is.
Mhm.
That doesn't work for me.
Right. Doesn't.
Yeah,
And
no.
you also share what it's like to run a business on YouTube on your YouTube channel. So if anyone wants to learn more, Emma has done live streams that are like ask me anything. She's got, no secrets, willing to share. She's worked hard to get where she is and I think does a good job of letting people ask about it. So if that's something that interests you, go watch some of those past streams.
Thank you. I think it's just interesting, don't you think? I mean, for
Mhm.
me, because
Yeah.
I came, I guess, from a traditional 9 to 5 office job, that's what I was very used to. There's just, it's just interesting. Like, I would
Yeah.
be curious and I kind of create content for other versions of me. It's hard to know, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think when I meet people on a cruise ship, they become my audience in my mind because I can't imagine people who I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But every time I go on a cruise and I meet someone, now they've gone into the bank of, oh, I met Simon on Morello or I met
Yeah.
and that's who I create content for. And quite often when I meet people in real life, they want to know, you know, how does this work? How are you able to do what you do? So I
Mhm.
just carry that on the internet because yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting, I
It
think.
is. It is interesting. It's so this world that we live in now where people are creating careers out of content creation and everyone has their own twist, their own strategy, their own focuses and the different types of things that they love to do, but the thing I love the most about your content is that you're able to find a balance between being genuine and sharing a lot about your travels, but yet there's an overall positive undertone, a positive vibe. And I think you love the cruise industry, you love cruise travel, and that really comes through.
I hope so. I mean, I started all of this because I would go on a trip, come back to work, try and tell my friends, and they would have absolutely no idea what I was talking about or no interest at all. If I
Hmm.
say, oh, I can't wait to try Indulge Food Hall because I had that on Prima, no one in my real life cares about that
Wow.
stuff, but I've
Yeah, they
always
don't.
wanted to talk about it. So
Right.
now the fact people are listening to it,
Hmm.
I can't really think about that part to be honest, but I've always wanted to share it regardless of if anyone, you know, if 5 people are listening or 500 or 5,000,
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. That's the
Yeah.
point. People say to me, well, don't you take a break when you cruise or go on any other holidays? Not really, because then I'm just itching to get
To
back,
get
you know,
back.
to
Yeah.
share. Like, I can't sit on a cruise and not, I
Yes.
never have.
You
Yeah.
can't. It's impossible. I think once you start doing this kind of work, you really can't. It's impossible not to take out your camera or take out your notepad on your phone and be making notes about
Yeah.
something, and you do. You kind of you have this burning desire to share. And I think that's what makes you successful though, is that you want to share.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think I never went into this for wanting to be a YouTuber or wanting people to know my face. To be quite honest, if I could do
Right.
this whole thing without it being my face, if
Hmm.
I could go back in time
Yeah.
and have an AI face, I probably would do that because the
Yeah.
fame part is not a part that I'm particularly seeking.
Right.
Or it was for me, that's the side effect of talking to so many people. That
Yeah.
wasn't my goal,
Right.
maybe. So maybe that makes it a bit different. But yeah, I just genuinely get excited about things. And the
Yeah.
thing is I watch YouTube videos, I talk to friends. If they're telling me something about something they're excited in, even if I have no idea what it is, I don't want to do it. I just enjoy it when other people like things and do
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. You
So same, I
enjoy.
think. I don't think a lot of my audience don't cruise. They don't want to cruise. They just
Hmm.
like to see Emma likes this thing. She's explaining it.
Hmm.
Okay,
All
she can
right.
do it. She's done it.
Yeah. She can
That's
do it.
it.
She's done it. I want to hear the story.
Exactly. They
That's
don't have
so
to do it. They
cool.
don't have to like it. They're not all making a decision on, oh, well, this cruise ship's changed that restaurant that used to be included. Like, they don't, the majority of people don't care. They just want to
Yeah.
see, they just, want an overview of things. So that's what I
Yeah.
try and do. It's hard not to get so down in the detail, and things are always changing in the cruise industry. As soon as you say something, it's not true anymore because someone's put up their gratuities.
Right. Or a
Uh,
show changes, or,
yeah.
yeah, it's
So I
so
try
fun.
not to go
Don't go too deep.
too specific in that because yeah, if I'm meeting a friend who, doesn't cruise, they're not gonna they don't care. They just want to know what I did. Did I like
Yeah.
it? Was it what I thought it would be? Did I pay a price that I'm happy with?
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be a news reporter on a cruise ship reporting all the latest facts. Yeah.
No, I have so much respect for everyone who does cruise news, and I love
Yeah.
consuming it, but
Right.
I could not create it because I would be so stressed out. So
Right.
thank you
It's
to
a
everyone
hard
else.
thing to keep up on, right? To do it every day.
Yeah.
I respect the people who do it too, because it's such a, you cannot take a day off. Maybe you could take maybe you could take a Sunday off, but then the cruise news just keeps piling up.
Sunday, yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, you don't know in advance. You can't plan anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully there's other people out there who are fact checking things, and
Exactly.
there's a few people who, if I see them post, then I'm like, well, this is already fact checked. This is true. I know I can say it. This is where I get my information from.
Hmm.
Um,
The
but yeah,
trusted
not
voices. Yes.
not for me.
Yeah. Not for you.
That's too hard.
I totally agree with you. I did a little bit of cruise news during the pandemic because really, you didn't have much else to talk about. We were all kind of having to just report on the latest and greatest. And I remember thinking, okay, this is fine for now, but I'm not going to do it forever.
I still get that, like random short videos I made.
Mhm.
People will comment on them now, and it's me saying, "Oh yeah, we'll cruise in 3 months' time." Published in,
Yeah.
December of 2020. Like it's not. Why are you still? Yeah, I'm like, please don't look at that.
It's so funny.
That's how the internet works, right?
It does.
It's there
It
forever.
feeds you some weird. I've seen that too, where I'll get an old video of yours coming across my feed sometimes too. I'm like, that is so funny. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. So let's jump into the way that we kind of close every show, which is our rapid fire questions.
Yep.
And I'm actually excited to hear some of these from you. I'm going to start with, what is the craziest thing you've ever done on a cruise?
I think it is letting the captain shave my head on the stage
I
because I
remember
don't think
that.
I can top that.
Now, why the heck did we do this? We have to take a moment and talk about this.
This was years and years and years ago. I think it was 2018, a really long time ago. I had a very small YouTube channel, but me and some colleagues who I work with, because I have my normal job, were going to do a head shave for a cancer support charity.
Mhm.
I then decided to go on the cruise. I thought I'll postpone it. I made a tweet or something and I said, I'm going to postpone my head shave because I'm going on Morella. And they replied and said, do you want to do it on board? I thought, sure, why not? Thinking in the hairdressers, right? Like in the spa.
Yeah.
And they said,
No.
I'm doing it on the stage.
In the theater.
Yeah, in the theater. And I thought, well, why not at this point? And then they said, do you mind if the captain does it? And I was like, why not?
Hey, my hair's coming off one way or the other. Whoever.
And at least then everyone knows, right? So, but it was just before the normal evening show. So people just
Yeah.
had gone there to see, whatever was on, Elvis tribute or
Yeah.
something. And then I'm there just having my head shaved at the beginning.
Oh my stars. I didn't realize that
can't-
they had staged it that way.
Yeah.
I can visualize the moment in my head. I remember the color of the curtains. I mean, when you see this, is the most surreal thing in the world. And then you have poor Emma with, having to protect her head because it's cold after that.
Yeah.
For months and months, it's like Emma Emma with a new scarf, Emma with a new
hat. Yeah, that was in the Baltics. I did that cruise. It's
Yeah.
a cold place anyway. But yeah, I had the hat
gosh.
pulled down for a while. But it was great. Like I did it with Morella, the British cruise line, and they organized collections of all these different coins in every different currency. People were just donating spare cash, and they recorded it. They had it on playing in the theater on the little screens on the side.
Oh
So-
my gosh. That is so funny.
But I don't think I can top that.
No.
I'm not doing that again.
I'm not sure who can top that, to be honest. It's great.
Yeah, it escalated, but it was
It
good.
did. But again, for a cause. I love it.
Yeah.
So cruise line you've sailed with the most, we kind of touched on this. I think there's two, right?
It is Norwegian Cruise Line who have
Okay.
a strong lead, and I think they're going even further in their lead because I'm cruising with them a lot.
Yep.
We are on Aqua, so yeah. But I cruise with them for my first cruise, my second cruise, third. I think my first five cruises were
Wow.
with Norwegian. So I
Okay.
think when it's a first cruise, that kind of becomes your baseline, and you compare everything to that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm not so much a fan of the dress codes and things because Norwegian don't have any.
Right.
But
You get to
yeah,
pick. That's
yeah.
amazing. So, balcony or inside?
Well, traditionally, I'm an inside cabin cruiser. I'm more than
Hmm.
happy in an inside cabin. Recently, I have had a couple of balcony cabins when I've been in places like Alaska, and I
Yeah.
think there's some destinations where it's definitely worth it if you can. If you're in Norway, if you're in Alaska, if you're cruising in Japan.
Yeah.
But also, I do a lot of cruises where we cruise out of Southampton. We go to Bruges. It's October. It's dark. It's raining. It's just shipping containers anyway.
Yeah.
And on cruises like that, absolutely inside cabin. I did
Okay.
inside cabin on my transatlantic
Oh, wow.
because there's not much to see particularly, and
Right.
also I prioritized the location of that cabin, and my inside cabin was right in the middle,
Ah,
right as far down as I could go, and we
really?
had rough seas, so I'm very very grateful for that. My parents had a balcony, and I would not have swapped even if you paid me.
Really?
Yeah, the
Wow.
difference in movement was really noticeable.
Oh my
As in, my dad
gosh.
gets seasick too. He's the one who gave me the seasickness gene, I guess.
Yeah.
And he would come down to my room to lay in my room because the movement was
Oh
less.
my gosh. That's something we didn't really talk about today though, is that you really do struggle with motion sickness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my fault because the cruises I book, I don't go with any of the advice because sometimes I
Yeah.
think, well, maybe a transatlantic in January would be a great idea. Maybe going into the Arctic Circle on a 30-year-old cruise ship, that's a
Sure.
good idea. Yeah, because I figure either it goes well or it's a good story to tell, right?
Yes.
And being seasick, it's not the end of the world. I didn't enjoy the transatlantic because that was 7 sea days,
Hmm.
and I wasn't particularly unwell, but I just felt rough, just generally
Yes.
not enjoying the
Just, and
time.
you constantly
Um,
have to take medication just to stabilize
yeah,
yourself, and it's
just
just
to
weird.
sleep, and then
Yeah.
and because I had the inside cabin, they closed the outside decks because it was rough, so you're very
Oh.
much inside.
Ooh,
But
cooped
I
up.
don't. I'm quite a travel sick person in my life, and people say, "Why would you go on a cruise if you're travel sick?" Because
Mhm.
I can't go further than an hour in a car without
Okay.
taking travel sickness medicine. So, am I going to live my life just within an hour of my house?
Right.
Absolutely not. It's
Okay.
totally worth it. On the majority of cruises, I don't get seasick. I'm not going assuming I'm going to be seasick. I
Hmm.
would just say maybe less than 1 in 10 cruises I take, maybe 1 in 20.
Yeah.
I feel seasick. So only a handful of cruises ever, and it's totally worth the risk for me. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can't imagine ever not cruising just because I might get seasick. You can
Yeah.
book a cruise, if you're worried about it, book a cruise that doesn't have any sea days or only has
Hmm.
1 sea day
That's a
or
good way of
doesn't
doing
sail
it.
very far. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to put yourself through the weird things I put myself through.
I love it. Okay, what's the first thing that you do when you board a ship? And I'm sure this has changed because now you're capturing content. And
Yeah,
the first day is a busy day if you're a cruise
it is.
YouTuber. But what do you do that's fun on the first day?
I like it when a main dining room is open on that first day.
Oh,
It's quite rare.
for
But
lunch?
if it is, I'll head straight there for lunch. That's
Oh,
in my ideal situation. That's what
okay.
I'm doing because you can sit down. You don't have to carry your like
Yeah,
hand luggage and stuff like that, and start working on my soda package
I
straight
love
away.
it. And
Yeah,
isn't it such a calming, peaceful way to start your trip too,
yeah,
with being with a bit, bit of service and just avoiding that hustle and bustle? Love that.
exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wish every cruise line, had their main dining room open for lunch
Yeah.
more. Some cruise lines don't ever have it on port days.
Yep.
I still want to eat there on a port day. Like I'll come
Yeah.
back for lunch and go out
Yeah.
again.
Sure. Save the money.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
Caribbean or Alaska?
Alaska every single time.
Mm, yeah.
Easiest question.
You love it.
I love Alaska.
Dream cruise destination.
I've never been to Australia or New
Oh.
Zealand at all. That part of the world is completely on my cruise globe. It's just empty.
Ooh.
So I think for me, but I want to do it properly. I don't
Okay.
want to, I'm not flying to Australia to do, a week cruise
Mm-hmm.
or even 2 weeks. If I go to Australia, I'm gonna go to Australia
Yeah.
properly.
Stay for a
So
month, visit New Zealand, visit
exactly.
Australia, spend some time.
So I will get there. I think at the moment it's kind of tricky running the business that I run. It's quite, I can't leave for that long.
Right.
Even if I'm doing a cruise and things. And yeah, so we'll get there, but it probably not super soon.
Okay. Beer, wine, or cocktails?
Cocktails, absolutely. Yeah,
fruity.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, ones that don't taste of anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a true cocktail, like a cruisy cocktail, nice beachy cruisy cocktail. All right, I love this question. This is so Emma. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi, but unfortunately, most cruise ships are not Pepsi. So I do drink if you look to what I drank, probably I drink more Coke, but I would prefer Pepsi.
Okay. Best shore excursion you've ever done?
I think it's the railway, the White Pass Railway.
Oh, in Alaska. Skagway. Yes.
Yeah, we were so lucky. We had glorious blue skies the entire time. It doesn't look like a real place when I look at that footage. And yeah, it was just, everything just fell into place really nicely. It would have been very different if it was foggy or rainy and you don't know and you have to book it far in advance because it sells out. Yeah. But the sun came out for us. And stunning. Yeah, it was really nice.
One thing you'd like to see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I want to
add one benefit of that train is they have bathrooms on the train, like in the carriage. And that makes me very happy because it's a long train trip.
Yeah. You don't want to be stuck somewhere for 4 hours without a bathroom.
No, but I wasn't sure that that would be a thing before I went. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Me
it's
too.
It's not a great toilet.
And they're clean and they're nicely located at the back of each car and you don't have to worry at all.
Exactly. This is the kind of review I want.
These are the priorities, Emma, that we share.
For sure.
Okay, one thing you'd like to see added to cruise ships.
I don't think they'll ever do this, but I would like, you can scrap most of the spa. I'm not interested in it. But what I would like in the spa is a room that I can rent to have a bath.
Oh.
It's literally just a really nice bath with bath bombs and nice lighting. And I'll just have like an hour in the evening.
That's a genius idea.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah, a private bath. Yeah. All right, I love this. So finish this sentence. When I'm not cruising, I'm blank. Working right now.
Yeah. Given the choice, if I'm at home, I like to go to sort of like historical places and country gardens and wander around a lot. I probably, if you look at my hobbies, people think I'm a retired lady. I like to do that when I'm at home because I'm so busy traveling and things. What I actually want to do is just walk around a nice park with the dog. I don't want all of this excitement and, I eat out enough on cruises and things. I go to the theatre quite a lot, in London. I enjoy that. But a quiet life suits me fine in between cruises.
I love it. I love it. Where can people find you, Emma?
So I'm Emma Cruises everywhere. I'm keeping things very easy now. Emma Cruises on YouTube, my website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, anywhere you can find anybody. Yeah. I'm just called Emma Cruises there. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for kind of talking about the projects that you're working on and the things you're excited about and your history. It was so much fun today, and I cannot wait to see you next week.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all your nice compliments throughout this podcast. I feel like I came you said nice things about me the whole time. I really appreciate it.
Right back at you.
And I will see you. Yes. Actually, we'll see you. So that'll be so cool.
All right. I know. I can truly say to Emma right now and to everyone else, until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.